because of a very, what I would consider still a very sort of miraculous answer to prayer, as I was asking, is there a God? If so, please prove it by getting me into, giving me a scholarship to international school at the south coast of Wales so I can get out of here. And when we were told that they weren't going to give me any money, I just prayed like crazy that the money would happen anyway, and it did. And so I became a convert to a belief in an actual God, but that was couched in evangelical fundamentalist Protestantism.
Have you ever witnessed or experienced something that you consider to be magical or miraculous in your life? And how did it change your life? And it doesn't have to be just one thing, it can be a couple different events or occasions. So, yeah.
Well, I think the one thing was the miracle that I just spoke to you about, where we were definitely told in April of 1971, you didn't get a scholarship, you're not qualified, and there was a postal strike in Britain, and then it took a whole month to get a letter to me saying, no, we've actually awarded you this scholarship that you weren't supposed to get. And in that time, I was praying like a mad thing, and very, um, how to say, very arrogant of me to demand that God prove that it exists, right? I won't say he, she, because the God of the universe and the multiverse didn't just create male and female, I'm sure, as we understand it. But at any rate, that was one thing. I mean, the other thing, let's see if I have this in the drawer. What did I do? I sat in a class with a guy named Eugene Ong who taught people how to bend spoons like this, not just with the mind, with the hands, but if you went to try to do this with your hand, you would break the spoon. You would just snap the thing. So I also studied energy healing. You okay?
Well, I just wish I'm gonna have to take a screenshot of that spoon because that it's like the spoon is curved around itself.
Yeah,
And that's actually really fascinating because there are some really interesting, I do believe, videos on YouTube about people who can bend spoons
right.
by
But
touch.
generally, yeah, but generally there was some kind of trick to it. Now I sat in a room full of 50 other people. We were all given these spoons that they bought at the dollar store or something. And this guy taught us to merge our energy with the spoon and to warm the spoon up with our energy. And then at a certain point, when we felt it was right and the spoon was ready to bend it. Now, all of that sounds to some people absolutely crazy, right? But that was after a period of time where I spent 3 years, once a month for a Saturday, learning to do energy healing. And during that period of time, we even did past life regressions. And if if there was one thing that I also consider, and it's just come to mind now talking to you, sort of like a miraculous kind of confirmation. I'll tell you the story. One of the things that I saw sort of in my inner eye was this very white, bright temple marble, a sea that I took to be the Aegean Sea because of the color of it and my limited knowledge of geography. And in the vision or the sort of inner eye, I had this sense that there were dolphins swimming from the sea into the temple and swimming all the way around the altar stone before moving out. And that was somewhere around 1997. In 2005 or 6, I was in Hawaii on a retreat with one of my late teachers, David LaChapelle. Out of the clear blue sky, never having discussed this with him, never having spoken about it after the class, he said to me, "Remember that temple, that white temple?" He said, "Go and look up the temple of Apollo at Delos and spend some time practicing writing Greek with your right hand. I'm left-handed. And go and look at a statue of the Apollo Belvedere. The Apollo Belvedere looks like your partner, your husband, right? So I go that afternoon and I look up the temple of Apollo at Delos. The dolphin was sacred to Apollo, and the dolphins are carved on the altar stone all the way around the altar stone in the temple at Delos. So whenever I have doubts, because life can still be very difficult at times, and going through the memory of my trauma when I was 52, fortunately happened after this incident in Hawaii, I would kind of hold on to that as like, well, look, I know that I've lived before. It was verified for me intellectually in a way that just can't be explained in any way that we know by normal scientific, rational, materialistic, whatever. So I don't have a lot of those really big things, and yet I also know that, if I'm leading a meditation group and I focus energy in a certain way, the people in the room feel it. And they'll tell me, I mean, a couple weeks ago, they'll tell me, gee, suddenly I felt really heavy. I was like, yeah, I was dropping my energy into the ground. Suddenly felt a lot of light. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I didn't say this to them, but I was opening up to the heavens, right, in the meditation. And of course, the divine energy is everywhere. But those are three things that really stand out that are, you know, pretty much mind bogglers.